Hey everyone, Ginger Soda here, and I'm back with another Fallout 76 video. Today I got some really important news that I wanted to talk about, and it's that Bethesda is finally dealing with the legacy / illegal mods problem in Fallout 76. Now, this topic is actually another pretty controversial topic in the Fallout 76 community, just because of what exactly legacies are, which I'll get to that in a second. And this is actually news from the other day. But I had to take some time to really think about it because I actually wasn't quite sure how I personally felt about them removing legacies. So now, for those of you that are wondering what a legacy is, it is actually a weapon that has a legendary effect on it that it no longer can get legitimately. So like a really popular one is the Gatling plasma, with explosive bullets. Which obviously, as you can tell, it's no longer something that you can get legitimately. It's something that you would have had to either get from it being duped or before Bethesda decided that they no longer wanted it to get that perk. And so the primary issue with legacies was the fact that it was really hard to properly balance enemies because of how much extra damage some of these legacies were capable of. So while not all legacies were amazing broken weapons, and actually some of them were worse, it's just cool to have a legacy weapon. Kind of shows that you were around prior to certain updates, that you're kind of like an OG of Fallout 76, if you will. So the thing is that some people did get their legacies legitimately. They got them prior to the update that removed the effect that's no longer on the weapon. So that really made it difficult for Bethesda to kind of make a decision about what to do with legacies, because some of them are broken. As I mentioned a moment ago, we have the Gatling plasma with the explosive bullets, which is able to, in the right hands, completely decimate high-tier enemies like the Scorchbeast Queen and Earl, the giant Wendigo, in a matter of seconds. And so that was the primary issue with legacies, is that people were able to get their hands onto these broken weapons and use them to kind of ruin the experience for everyone else. Now, I will say that there were people that were not using their legacies in a harmful, exploitative way. They were just using it on their own private servers, doing their own things with them, because they didn't want to ruin the experience for other players. Now, not everyone was doing that, which is why it was such an issue, was the fact that people were using it and they were ruining certain events like the Scorchbeast Queen, like I mentioned, or Earl the giant Wendigo. People were not actually able to properly participate in those events because they were getting killed so fast that you could not possibly hit the damage number that was needed to get the rewards from killing the Scorchbeast Queen or Earl. Now, this really begs the question of, does Bethesda have the right to remove these from the game? I mean, some of them were legitimately gained by players, but I personally do think that it was Bethesda's job to balance the game and make sure that the game worked as intended. And legacies made it really, really hard for them to do that, because it's really hard to properly balance things when there's one weapon that completely annihilates everything. Now, I did actually mention in a previous video about Fallout 76's endgame, about how legacies actually made the game too easy. And I think overall that the game sometimes, even without legacies, can be too easy. And a part of that issue was that the All for One Wastelanders update, which was meant to balance enemy levels to make it so that there was actual difficulty in all aspects of the game, legacies kind of sidestepped that whole update and allowed for all the difficulty that they were intending to reach, kind of just sidestepped it and made it so it didn't happen. And while not everyone wants Fallout 76 to be a difficult game, I personally do think that with a little bit more challenge, Fallout 76 would be a very fun game to play, because, as I mentioned in my endgame video, the only real way to get any challenge is to do events solo, which isn't really fun because Fallout 76 is supposed to be a game that is played together with friends. Obviously, there are tons of different ways where you can make it more hard on yourself, but I feel like overall there should be a little bit more challenge in 76, and I feel like removing legacies and the illegal mods are a step in that direction. Removing legacies is going to allow for them to properly balance things in the game. And while I do understand, as I mentioned a moment ago, was that some legacies were obtained legitimately, but it's really hard for me to believe that all the legacies that we see now were legitimately obtained, even though those legendary effects were removed prior to even the Wastelanders update, before the game hit its peak in popularity. So it's really hard to me that the abundance of these legacies is actually legitimate, which is why I'm actually okay with it being removed. And it doesn't, on my Xbox account, I have legacies that I don't use because I don't play on Xbox anymore. So it doesn't personally bother me that some of them are being removed, or all legacies are being removed, because they're just no longer an addition to the game that is needed. Especially for what Bethesda has said they want to do with the game, and the balancing that they want to do to make the game legitimately difficult, or at least more challenging for the community, and give you more reason to play the game with other people instead of trying to force yourself to handicap yourself in order to have any difficulty in the game. Now, I understand that that might be a pretty controversial opinion, but I do feel like overall, removing of legacy weapons is going to solve a lot of issues with 76. And while I understand, as I've mentioned multiple times already, that there were people that gained this legitimately, and you might feel that it's unfair for Bethesda to take away items from you, you have to understand that these are game-breaking items that make it so the game is less enjoyable for other players. And as much as it sucks, Fallout 76 is a multiplayer game, and it's not just you playing on these servers. If you're playing on your own private world, maybe I would understand, wanting to keep your legacies because you're playing on your own. But overall, there's people that use and abuse legacies and illegal mods in the illegal weapon mods in the game to make it easier for themselves and to ruin the experience for other players. And it's taken way too long for Bethesda to take any action on this. This has been an issue since that very first update where they removed certain weapons from getting the bullets exploding on impact for additional damage. Since they've done that, it has been a non-stop issue with legacies, and it's been an issue that has taken almost 3 years to solve, which is honestly ridiculous. You've had people in the community complaining about it forever, and I'm really supportive in the fact that they finally took action and took a step in the right direction to take the game to where it needs to be. Obviously, it's okay to disagree with me on this. I'm not 100% right, and if you have a different opinion than me, feel free to let me know, because maybe I could learn something. Maybe I'm just completely forgetting something, not taking into consideration fully other people's perspective. But I do feel like at the end of the day, what Bethesda did was the best for the game, and I'm actually really hopeful for the future, and I can't wait for Nuka World on Tour to come out, and for the legacy/illegal mod removal patch to come through with Nuka World. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Feel free to, express your own opinions down in the comments. I actually am really intrigued to see how other people feel about this, and I'm honestly really excited for the future of 76. Thanks for listening to my rants and ramblings in this video. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.